Hey guys, so today I'm going to unbox and assemble my Tuttio Soleil 01 e-bike. My dad and his friend are going to help assemble the e-bike while I will talk about my first impressions and break down the assembly guide. So who is the Tuttio Soleil really for? It suits riders 13 and over and up to 265 pounds from 3 feet 10 inches to 6 feet 2 inches. It costs around $1,400 to $1,500 and is known as a budget e-bike, as more expensive ones range from $2,000 to $5,000. However, don't get it mixed up. This is not a cheap e-bike like some of the $500 bikes from Amazon that don't live up to what they say their specs are. For example, the cheapest bike claims to be 1,500 watts, but in the description, it literally says 1,000 watts. It's like they're already lying to you. Personally, I wouldn't be willing to go 20 miles an hour on a knockoff bike. Sounds like a good way to injure yourself. This bike can go up to 37 miles on sports mode, while Eco goes 15 miles an hour and Tour goes 22 miles an hour. This bike is more of a dirt bike as it is smaller and has better suspension than what you would see on a regular bike. Not only would it run great on the road, but it could also handle gravel, inclines, grass, and dirt. After my dad put it together, I immediately took it for a ride and I had a great time. The suspension isn't all hard like some old bike, but it's soft like a cushion. The suspension makes it so that you can't really feel anything, and it's just so smooth. People leave bad reviews of getting a bad bike. The Tuttio customer support is very flexible and will reply to you whenever they possibly can for a replacement or a full refund. Personally, we had a slight damaged seat and the Tuttio customer support had sent us a new replacement. Overall, this bike is great for everyday use. So now that we're almost done unboxing, let's jump straight into the assembling. And don't stress, assembling it's pretty straightforward, and I'm going to break it down for you step by step in a way that's easy to follow. Grab a screwdriver, some Allen wrenches, and a wrench from your toolbox. Alright, first things first, let's get those handlebars on so that you can steer properly. You'll see a stem that fits into the bike's head tube. Slide it in and make sure it's lined up straight. And use an Allen wrench to tighten the bolts. You want it secure so that it doesn't wiggle when you're riding, but don't over tighten and strip the screws. That's a headache you don't need. Adjust the handlebar angle to what feels comfy for you. If you're taller, you might want them tilted up a bit for a better grip. Let's start with the front wheel. It's the 14-inch one. This part can be a bit fiddly, so don't rush and take your time. Pick up the front wheel and line it up with the front fork on the bike. You'll see a metal axle in the box. Slide it through the wheel's hub and into the fork slot. Make sure it's nice and straight or else your wheel's gonna wobble. Grab your wrench and tighten the nuts on both sides. If you're stuck, the manual's diagram that's super helpful. How did you guys find out about this bike? Personally, the way I found out about this bike was from TikTok, and you probably saw on TikTok too. Over the summer, the bike became pretty popular and I decided that it wouldn't be a bad idea to give it a try. Now, to put the brakes on. Prepare the bike by securing it on a flat surface or stand. Next, position the caliper over the rotor, align with the fork mount, and finally loosely thread the bolts. Then to align the caliper, spin the wheel to check for any rubbing. After, adjust the caliper to center the rotor between the pads, then tighten the bolts. Finally, you should test the brakes. To do so, you have to squeeze the lever to confirm firm stopping. Moving on to the throttle. Let's put the throttle on. This part is actually pretty simple. To attach the throttle, all you really need to do is get a small wrench that came with the Tuttio Soleil 01 kit. The throttle should already have everything connected, so you don't need to mess around with any of the wires or extra parts. First, take the throttle and slide it onto the right side of the handlebar. It should be pretty snug, but that's normal. Make sure it's facing the right way so the screen is easy to see and the grip is comfortable to twist. Once it's in the right spot, use the wrench to tighten the screws on the clamp so it stays in place and doesn't spin around. Double check that it feels secure and lines up with the brake lever. The screen on the bike displays the miles per hour that you're traveling, battery, and how far you've driven in one ride. You can also change the display to show the total distance the bike has ridden. Have you heard that there's a new version of this bike? The Tuttio SE just recently dropped, and it's basically the same thing with the same specs, but another $200 more expensive. All that's really new with it is that it has an updated front and back fenders, which only costs an extra $100 in total. And it's also fully black, but you can spray paint it with the professional, which multiple other people have done. So it's kind of like $100 going down the drain. Now, let's talk about the footrest on your Tuttio Soleil 01. This part might seem a little tricky, especially if it's your first time setting them up. But don't worry, it's pretty straightforward once you know what you're looking for. When you take the footrest out the box, look closely and you'll see a small letter stamped on each one, either an L or an R. These marks are important because they tell you exactly where each footrest go. The one labeled L is meant for the left side of the bike, and the one marked R is for the right. It may sound obvious, but placing them on the correct side is key to making sure everything fits and functions the way it should. Even if you don't plan on using the footrest as much because of the motor, it is still important to install them properly. They help you keep stable and give you better balance, especially when you stopped or are riding at lower speeds. They help keep you stable when taking sharp turns, which is crucial for avoiding any crashes. I was once about to crash, but I didn't, and I'm certain it is because the footrest kept my feet in place so I could keep my balance, and that helped me to avoid my first ever crash. Now let's install the bar pads on your Tuttio Soleil 01. Did you know what this piece is even called? I didn't. I had to Google it like 5 different times. Start by identifying where the bar pad goes. It goes along the handlebar. Hold the bar pad in place so the holes align. Then grab the screws provided in your set and insert them through the holes. Using the Allen wrench that came in your tool set, begin tightening the screws. Go slowly and make sure each one is going in straight. Tighten them just enough so the pad is secure, but don't overdo it. Once all the screws are in and the pad feels firm with no wiggle, give it a final check. That's it. Your Tuttio now has a clean, finished look with extra comfort and safety built in. Now for the fenders. The fenders are those plastic guards that keep mud and water from splashing into your face when you're ripping through puddles. Grab the front and rear fenders from the box. They come with screws to attach. Use an Allen wrench to bolt the front fender to the fork and the rear one near the back wheel. Make sure they're tight and don't rattle when you're riding. Some folks say the stock fenders are kind of basic, but they do the job for now. You can always upgrade them later if you want. Me personally, I'm definitely going to upgrade the front fender, but I'm not so sure about the back one. You can put the front covers on, but I just prefer them to stay off. It gives them a nice and smooth look without the covers, and with the covers it just doesn't feel the same. Now let's move on to the battery. The battery is already in the bike and it comes fully charged. To turn on the bike, you must first connect the singular wire to the battery. If you need to charge it, you can use the battery plug that comes with it, which takes about 7 to 8 hours. Now you can turn on the bike and test the throttle. Start with the slowest gear, which is Eco, to get a feel for it. If you ever want to speed the bike up, you can get a Bluetooth dongle which can help you tweak the settings for even more speed. But that's for another day. Now, let's move on to the number plate. The number plate's installation is pretty self-explanatory, and all you really have to do is zip tie the number plate to the front fork of the bike. There are multiple holes in the front plate, but choose the one that's closest to the fork, as it's the easiest one to install. Finally, all you have to do is cut off the extra zip tie, and that is basically it. And boom, you're ready to ride. Before you head out, make sure to grab a helmet, as you don't want to get hurt on this thing. Tuttio's also has a full face helmet if you want to look legit. This bike is meant for off-road fun, so check your local laws before taking it out on the street. Now you can build yourself your own trail and have fun.